I'm back. The previous part was about Swanage and the trip to countryside, the seaside. Sorry, that was a simple trip to the sea and pier. There were outside of fishing and tourism. There's nothing of much relevance about Swanage except for some other minor stuff during the war, but neither. That's not necessarily a major component.
I would disagree with that, but however, we'll discuss that another day.
Of course, of
Moving on.
Of course, there's some degree of command to it, but compared to other regions.
We'll do that another day. Yeah, we'll do that.
Anyway, the point is, we went to no, yeah, we're in Kent, yeah, Kent.
2.5 hours.
The trip to Kent was 2.5 hours. We're here for 4 days. I'll just let you start then.
Oh,
talk about no.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, so we'd driven up, and I thought we should do something before going to the pub. Very nice pub, lovely pub. It's in there, he says. Okay, and so I was looking at something to do, and I thought I would pop into Knoll, which I've known about for a long, long time because it's a Sackville West established house. However, it's ancient. It's from the 14th century. It was originally the Archbishop's Palace because the Archbishop of Canterbury, and that's where the base of the then Catholic, then later Protestant church, and still is, of course. Anyway, so from from being Archbishop's Palace, I can't see that picture. What you want me to talk about? That statue. Lots of statues everywhere. That's what they do in big manor houses. They are rather beautiful. Anyway, so then the royal family actually lived in it as a palace, and eventually the Sackville family bought it. Yeah? The Sackville, yes, I can bore you rigid. The Sackvilles, it's a thing I've had for years. There will be some of you who will have heard of Vita Sackville West. Some of you won't. If you haven't, go and read her books. Anyway, she's a very major writer of the Bloomsbury Group, Vita Sackville West, and she was very well known because she was the lover of Virginia Woolf. So that's a relative new current history. However, this is where she came from. She came from Knoll. And similarly, her cousin, who eventually got owned, it went down the path to him. There's a fellow called Eddie Sackville West, and he's also a writer. So there's a massive arts thing that's going on at Knoll here. What are the pictures you doing? All right, yeah, okay. Show me a picture. Yes, that is a picture of another statue there. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's not a massive place compared to a lot, but for its time, considering it was built in 1400s, it would have been very big and impressive for its time. But then, of course, later the palaces got bigger and bigger to be more impressive, right? But that for its time would have been absolutely impressive. It's beautiful inside. Do you get pictures from inside?
Yes, I have some pictures inside. Just wait.
Oh, I've got to wait. All right.
Yeah, I'm very much there, as you can see.
There's even a prison there. There's on the map. It says there's a prison inside there, which is really weird. Then you see the landowners owned the people who worked for them, and around them it's under serfdom. Yeah, so I guess they were actually imprisoning their own people. And that's the tower. Tower. I've got to tell you what tower he said. That's where Eddie lived, in the tower. Eddie Sackville West, because he didn't want to live in the main building. It's too big for him, and he didn't like it. And it's terrific. It was terrific because it's so inside the main building. It's quite dark, as a lot of Tudor houses are, and that was really, really bright, and it's very pretty. Inside is it was lovely. He, just like my dear son, preferred men. So the problem was,
Oi.
oh, there you go. It's
Yeah,
true.
quiet.
That's true. It's all right. So he had no inheritance, no one to inherit it to. And so he eventually passed it down, but the National Trust owns it now. And so that was in the 1940s and 50s when they actually took over. And the National Trust actually took it over then. All right, come on. I want to see some pictures, Brendan.
I know. This
Yeah.
is final up. This is the last.
Oh, that's a
outside picture.
last outside picture, he said. All right, he's moving on. He's moving on. He's moving on. And inside, actually, they had James the First's bed and furniture, which had been taken from the palace because these guys were right up there. They were right at the top of the nobility, right? And when they didn't want them anymore, he sort of took them. And apparently, that's one of the few surviving ones, one of the earliest surviving ones in England of the royal bed. It's beautiful. It's gilt and it's massive. And was that the orangery? No, that wasn't. That was just outside, wasn't it? With all the wonderful busts. Oh my goodness. Having any more busts or just that one?
That's the second bus one.
That's a whole wall of them. They're fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All right, next picture. Sorry. Talk amongst yourselves.
No, someone else.
Talk amongst yourselves, everyone. Right. Oh, there we are. This was so cute. It's like, look at me. I'm so important. I'm so wonderful. I'm going to build a little room. And this is the first time I've seen it. They build a little room and display all their chinaware that they'd got from China and from Japan. And it was to show the people visiting how important they were.
And for context, there was trading with China ever since the 1600s, and for example, it was 1700s. Forgive me if I get that name, that period slightly wrong, but that was the same. That's around the period in which Portugal established a free trade port in Macau, which escalated into a colony, and so on. And as some and ultimately, as some people know, there was the tragedy of the Opium Wars, in which led to the century of humiliation within the next 200 years after. But that's besides the point. The point is, trading with China was a thing ever since 1600s, and it was the whole trade for silver or trade for gold system in which there was wars and bankruptcies over trade.
He talks about politics, I talk about art. Now, moving on. Yeah, moving on. We've got to see some nice pictures of her.
There is nice pictures.
Oh, here we are. Here we are. Wiggy people. Oh, wait a minute. I get excited about wiggy people. I love wiggy people. Can you see the people with wigs? That's fantastic, isn't it? And they're all barons and baronets, and oh my goodness, very, very important people. And there's also pictures of the royal family that came and stayed with them as well, all over the walls. And there was even the Reynolds there's a whole of Reynolds up there, which is absolutely fantastic. Yes. Yes. I can't remember. Who was that? Do you remember who that was?
Not exactly.
I can't remember. Sorry, that's so bad, isn't it? Anyway, they were all very important people. That's all we need to know. All right, yeah, go then. More.
I'm doing it.
More.
Jeez, calm down. I'm doing it. Trying to find my picture.
He's looking for a picture. We should keep talking. Well, that is the romantic style. And I've got to talk about contraposture for you. Do you want to look at that picture? You will see. Oh, he's making a face. Be quiet. You do politics, I'll do art. You see that lady in the front, sort of twisted in a weird way. That's contraposture, where it looks like a triangle, and she's going in the opposite direction to the lady behind. So it's counter positioning. There we are. Contraposture.
Antithesis of it, and then
No, that's just the art word for it. That's just the art word for it. And of course, there's varying pictures there. Some of them massive and some are small. Sorry, I'm watching what he's doing. Where are we going next? I can't see that one very well, Brennan.
I can know this one.
Oh, you can do that one. Okay. Oh, why did you do that one?
It's funny.
It's not. That is. I can't remember his name. Oh, the artist.
Hey.
I do know him. I know the artist.
Spanish
guy. It's the Spanish guy.
I just did this one because apparently I have on tour guide. This painting was really controversial to do. So it was this at the time, of course, because it was it's one of the core people behind proving the earth was round, essentially showing the world does not change and just looking down the world. That was funny.
Right. What they call them, Brendan? Come on. You know that Sherborne Castle's the same. Come on, and I can't think of it right now. Oh, that's so embarrassing. No, I'll come back to it. It'll come back to me. But they were actually going to be put in prison and everything for it. The Enlightenment, the Enlightenment, and the Enlightenment of the Enlightenment actually came from the nobility. And they're the ones who sort of brought it along. It was not from the educators or anything like that. It was nobility and a few physicians. This one, the doublet and the little shorty panties, well, they're not called that really, are they? Anyway, my goodness, pure gold. It was amazing. And there's embroidered. Oh, they were amazing. Have you got the picture of the? Yes, you have. Go down to the, yes, that one. Yeah. It's coming.
I'm
actually,
yeah. There you
go. Right. So when a king or a queen is has a coronation, a very important thing happens, like someone dies or whatever, these bigwigs have to show to this day, they wear these things. They put on their little coronet hat, little crowns, and they put on their capes. And around go back to it. See the spots there? That's ermine fur, yeah? As in Lou Reed, ermine fur. There we are. Anyone who knows Lou Reed? That's no, you've got to put back on it because I've got to say. There you are. Now, can you see the top?
Fine.
Can you see the top? They've got to see it to understand it. Can you see the ermines, little white animals? Yeah, with spotty tails. He's got 2 spots right on this one. So that's what was he? He's a baronet, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Now, the higher you go up, you've got to use more ermines and you've got to have more spots. So there's one on the wall who had 4 spots. And so all these poor little animals would be killed, which I think is a bit sad. But Ermine's beautiful fur, and that is so, it would have been so heavy, and it's round, so it comes like a long train as they walk along, to be really impressive, to look how important they are. To this day, the Duke of whatever, who is the Sackville guy, would still be wearing a thing very similar. For example, when the Queen dies and Charlie becomes king, he will have to wear that. So that's the weird thing about England. We walk around like we're ancient. Any more pictures?
Yes, there's pictures.
There's a load of pictures. Oh, it's a ceiling, right?
Highlight the outside of it. Simple.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Yes, yes. And that will have all been hand done, which is, and now it's done by machine. That will all have been hand carved by a man lying on his back on scaffolding. Absolutely bloody amazing. Bloody amazing.
Keep talking for now.
Yes, keep talking. Keep talking. Show me a picture, then I can talk. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Anything for now.
What we're talking about. Well, the Sackville West, why not? Why not? I mean, they to this day, they're a very well-known family, and to this day, they're still well-known in arts as well. They seem to have a thing about arts. Oh, that's right. Yes. There's a problem with inheritance, because God love him, or whichever one it was, had fallen in love with this Spanish barmaid or something like that, and he had lots of babies from her, but none of them were legitimate. So it's a bit of a problem, and and there's a lot of bad blood, that it had disappeared out of the Sackville to the Sackville West. It was. Are you showing these pictures as we go? No, you're not. So I'm just waffling.
Just keep. Yes, that's what I was doing.
I'm quite good at waffling. So there's very bad blood to this day. There's bad blood about the inheritance, which is in the story Orlando by Virginia Woolf. She wrote a story about this family, and the unfairness of women not being able to inherit, which of course is not true now, because I think it's about 20 years ago, the Queen changed it, that even it doesn't go down the male line. It goes, the eldest person, be it the daughter or son, inherits. And that's gone, so everything's changed now. But obviously that was history. So, although, yes, you're going to show that one. That's great. Show that one.
I am.
That one. There we are. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. That's obviously based on Greek. There was a big renaissance on Greek art. The Victorians absolutely loved it, and they would go abroad and they would see all these things in Italy, etc., or Greece, and they would get them replicated, and then they'd bring back the replica. It's like a photo. You take a photo of something, and that was their photo of their grand tours they used to do. Because anymore, I think we're almost done, aren't we?
Yeah, I've done almost done with essential statues.
Just more statues. Oh, then there were a lot of statues. What statue? I didn't see that statue. Did you see? Where was that statue?
It was in the same field of the three other ones.
Was it? Didn't see it. There you are. There you are. Right.
And
well, I can't think of anything more to bore you with. but I strongly recommend you go out and buy Orlando by Virginia Woolf, which is based on the Sackville West family of Knowle House. There we are. Oh, you wanted that one? That was great, actually. That was 8 o'clock. That was amazing. So it's sort of black with gilt on top, painted on top. Absolutely amazing. And there's sort of, can you see the cupids at the top? You probably, you might have to zoom it forward or something. That's it. Yeah. See all those cupids coming off it? It's amazing. Now that is Rococo, for those who really want to know that. Like I said, I'll do the art, he'll do the politics. So Rococo is again when they were the big wiggy people, lots of wigs.
Keep talking.
Keep talking. Talking about wiggy people.
Yes.
Oh, I can do that. I can do that. Of course, underneath the wigs, they had shaved hair because they used to get head lice from the wigs. So they used to shave their hair off, which can you imagine how ugly that would be? And even some women shave their hair off. Really quite yuck. But there you are. It was a fashion. Oh, there's one of the beds. But it wasn't, that wasn't James the First one. There was it.
Bed was, let me see. I think I got the James the First. I think I got that bed in here, but I couldn't get the king's bed because the lighting in the room was honestly way too bad. I mean, it's not a fault of the people doing it. They can help the lighting situation. It's essentially a Tudor building with some Victorian stuff in it, as well as preservation stuff. So they have to keep it fairly dark. So that's why there really wasn't that good of a photo opportunity in terms of the building.
Right. And the other thing of note is that these were built obviously in situ, because look how massive they are, right? And they would have to build them in the room because you couldn't get them out of the room, in or out of the room. And of course, if people aren't aware, they've got curtains around them because it's bloody cold. England is bloody cold. In the middle of winter, you have to have a curtain to keep you warm. I think that's an excellent idea. I think I should have one myself. And that's a lady's bed. It is? Yes, because it's smaller. Anything else we want to say about that? I do remember that was a lady. That was the Queen's ladies in waiting. But then her husband died, and then, as is tradition, she's not allowed to work anymore with the Queen, so she's retired at that point. And then she went to live in Knoll for the rest of her life. I can't remember her name, and I feel bad about that. But anyway, apparently she was very well known, and she had been in a lifetime under George, absolutely fated and everything like that. So she's a very famous lady, and I can't remember her name. Oh dear. Oh, that's from the tower, was it? Was that from the top of the tower?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing, isn't it? Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Look at those chimneys, eh?
Oi, speak up now. So just speak up 3 seconds. These next few photos will be from the very top of the tower. This is the highest point of the building itself. This is an overview of the general atmosphere if you want to see what it's like. And as you can see,
Parkland.
But yeah, Angel Parkland.
With Daisy.
Yeah, I got them. I'm got them. Don't worry.
Oh, good.
And to get to deers, I will now show you the deers. I think this is it. Yes, this is it. Give me 2 seconds, people. And here we go. These are the deers there. And let's figure out deers is. Sorry, side rant. I find deers strange creatures. Is because I know I use this for now. It's because for deers, humans kill deers so frequently in some cases that they still hang on humans.
No, they don't. No, I'm disagreeing with my son again. I'll have to disagree. Deer are very, very shy, and they wouldn't. They're tame because they're in the park. However, I don't know how they keep them in the park because they must have a wire fence that's massive because they jump over everything, right? And where I grew up, there's a bend around the corner, and they would be a passing point for the deer, right? And they'd always jump out and jump into your bloody car and write your car off. Seriously. And everyone, I hate to say this, but I know you're going to say, oh, aren't they cute? No, not really. Sorry.
kangaroos.
Sorry. Like kangaroos. Yeah, like kangaroos. I know. And everyone is, and I shouldn't say that. They are beautiful. And maybe the road shouldn't be near the deer. Okay, maybe we're wrong.
Tower as well.
The tower, yes.
It's on the tower as well. On the whole frontal thing.
Talk about the tower.
No. This is a picture I took from the tower as well.
Oh, so looking back. Yeah.
Because there was 4 angles.
Look at the grass. Look at the grass, everyone. Eh? Look at the grass. Look how brown it's going. Where in Australia we've had so much rain, and it hasn't stopped all summer. They've had barely any water at all, and Kent gets really, really dry. So the grass goes absolutely brown. Right, I've stopped talking. Well, that's more parkland. Loads and loads of parkland. Loads. And why? He's pointing his fingers. What are you pointing at? Oh, the distance, the vista.
Yeah.
Yeah, the countryside. That's called English countryside, Brennan.
Okay,
Okay, all right. And the quality brickwork. I mentioned that about those wonderful chimneys, which would have gone straight down to the kitchens, which weren't open, unfortunately. But there you are. Right.
And now let's talk about
Where we are now.
And yeah, and now we are in our new temporary residency in the King and Queen pub. And we are and East Morning, yes. East Morning.
That is spelt. Go on then. That's spelt. Oh God. Seriously? Oh,
Yeah.
are we doing a video tomorrow? Yeah, that'll be
Depends.
tomorrow. Okay.
Depends.
Tomorrow there'll be another video on this area, but and you'll know why we're here. But this is East Morning, and you spell it Malling. There you go.
Yay. Please don't. Please don't you dare.
Don't what?
And there you go. A nice joke photo for everybody. A nice joke photo.
That's for the Jubilee. That was for the Jubilee.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That isn't the first time I've seen the picture of the Queen. It's like it's on flags everywhere as well and other things.
That's fine. It's her Jubilee, 70 years. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, and that's basically an update of everything so far. Not much else more to mention. Anything else worth mentioning?
No, but we're going to have loads to mention tomorrow. Loads.
Depends on if I choose to do it or not.
Oh, yes, we're doing it.
I have complete power of this, not you. I only allowed you to do this.